Hello and welcome to another episode of Ken's Training. Today's training, what we're going to do is we're going to use an oxyacetylene torch to do some brazing. What the ultimate goal is we are going to build ourselves basically one of these. So it's just half-inch copper, half-inch cap on each end, one end here, and we're going to braze on one of these Schrader valve taps. So if this was an HVAC system and you wanted to gain access into the system, this would be a way that you could achieve that goal. Plus, we're also going to do a pressure test with our nitrogen tank right behind. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the cap off. And this particular cap is a really nice cap, but right on the opposite side it has the Schrader valve removal tool built right in, so I don't even need to get out my secondary tool. So basically you just put that down in here, and there you go. There's your Schrader valve insert itself. So now, see if you can see that. There, you should be able to see right through that, like there, so you can see that it's going directly through. You don't want to have this inside, because if you do have this inside, it has rubbers, seats, and things of this nature. So when you put the heat on it, you could potentially melt these particular seats, which you don't want to do. So I'm just going to set these aside. I don't require those. This is good to go. Now for the cleaning of the copper, basically I just took some standard aluminum oxide cloth, referred to as emery cloth, and I went through and just did even though it's new copper, brand new copper, went through and cleaned up the ends, and also cleaned up inside here where I'm going to be attaching this Schrader valve attachment. Okay. Now for the caps, this is a cleaning tool for copper, 3/4 inch and half-inch. Right now I'm dealing with half-inch copper, so just simply put it inside here like so, twist that up, and get that nice and clean on the inside. Also, I like to be wearing safety glasses whenever I'm working with solder. Even cleaning the solder, this way if a flake of metal was to brush into my eye or something like that, I want to be protected. So those are the steps that I'm going to take. Okay, so now that I've got this all clean, I also need to clean up the end right here where that's going to go. Alright, so that's all clean there. That one's ready to go. I'll take this here. And I'll just push this inside just to clean out inside of these caps here, so that those caps are ready. And then for this metal, it's basically like this. And I'll just lay that on the side. I've already got my copper here. I've got it prepped out, cleaned on both ends with my cleaning tool. I've got my caps right here ready to go. And this is a pressure tap that I used actually on this one right here. This one was here, and just to save money I just cut it off so I could reuse it, just so I didn't have to use a brand new one. If I did want to use a brand new one, this is how long a brand new one looks compared to the length of the one that I'm going to be using. So if I can reuse it, why not save the money? Now, in order for the hole, what I ended up doing, this is a 1/4 inch copper. I ended up just drilling a 1/4 inch hole here, just to give me the 1/4 inch needed to put that in. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to put on and weld a 1/2 inch cap onto here. So I'm going to go ahead, put that cap on, seat that all the way. And I'm just going to put that in my vise here, and I don't want to put it in the vise so tight that I am oblonging and squishing in this copper. I'm just trying to hold that for now. I've already got my torch set up with my acetylene and oxygen pressures. Basically, I'm running 5 pounds on the acetylene to 10 pounds on the oxygen. So I'm going to go ahead and light this off. The product that I'm going to use is called Stay Silver 15, which is going to be my brazing rod. It has a flux built into it, and I'm doing a copper to copper braze. If I was going to use a brass to copper braze, I would use a flux, and here is the flux, Stay Silver flux, and it has a white appearance to it if I was to use the flux, but I do not, and I'm not going to be using the flux for these welds. Okay, so I'm going to throw on some tinted safety glasses here to give me a little bit of eye protection. I've got a fire extinguisher right near me, a bucket of water. I've got a spray bottle with water here as well, so I can cool down my joints not too fast. And I'm going to go ahead and light off. Now, when I want to light off, I'm going to go with the acetylene first. Then I'm going to trim that down until I start to see some feathering. Then I'm going to introduce the oxygen. Okay, right about like that. This is just 1/2-inch copper. So I just have a very small blue coned flame, inner cone, and then the outer flame. And it's not too much. When I go to heat, I'm going to make sure that I move my torch around. When I get ready to use my filler rod, which is the Stay Silver 15, I'm going to pull the heat this way and draw the filler metal into the joint by capillary action. So first thing I want to do to heat up this metal, first I'm going to heat up the tube portion, or the male fitting. I'm going to heat that up. Then I'm going to come over to the female fitting, and I'm going to test to see how well I'm going with my my filler rod. Okay, that's getting nice and hot, and I'm beginning to flow right here. Now I need to flow into the joint. Alright, I'm flowing right now. Always putting the heat away from my body. I'll sit down here so I can get underneath it. Alright, just about done here. I need some more underneath. Okay, I got it. Alright, so that's one joint down. Now to kill my flame, I'm going to kill my green oxygen and then the acetylene. So now my flame is off. I've got a piece of stainless steel down here. So I'm just going to go ahead and put that on there. Put the clamp here to make sure that that doesn't move around. Okay. So now I've got one braze joint completed. I'm going to cool it down slightly like this. I don't want to cool it down too fast. So I just want to get that cooled down, and I'm going to show you the audience what that joint looks like. Alright. That's looking pretty good. Now that it's not steaming anymore, I'll give it a dunk in my bucket over here. And now I can show you what that braze looks like. Okay. Now you'll see as I go around the joint that I've completely filled out the joint. That is a 100% brazed joint. That joint with that filler metal, Stay Silver 15, is extremely strong. We did pressure testing. We did the exact same setup here with the exact same filler metal. We did a pressure test with nitrogen, 480 psi, passed with flying colors. So we know that that's going to be a very good joint. Now, for the second weld, I could either do this weld here for the Schrader valve, or I could put the cap on because it already has a hole to vent. I could do either or. I'll go ahead and do the cap first, and then I'll do that one last. Again, I'm just going to put this in here. Let me get the cap on first. I already know that everything is clean. Okay, that's fully seated, and I'll go ahead and put that on here. All right, what I'm going to do, just to see if you get a better angle out of this, the audience, I'm going to put this on this side so my welding will be over here on this side. Just I'm hoping that you as the audience can see that a little bit better. All right, now, my rod's getting a little low. It's not terrible, but just so I don't find myself in a pickle, I'm going to go ahead and get another rod out here for myself. Here's my rods right here. And I'm just going to have a rod in standby just in case I need one. So I'm just going to have that ready to go. And again, same light off technique. There we go. Trim that down slightly, give myself some oxygen. Just for this small job, 1/2 inch copper, that should be plenty of a flame. I do not need a lot of flame here. Again, I'm going to start on the tube section, the pipe. I'm going to heat the pipe, and then I'm going to draw that onto the fitting, which is the cap. When I weld, I'm going to have the heat on one side, my filler rod on the other, and through capillary action, this will follow the heat into the joint. So this is the technique that I'm using. And I'm constantly moving my heat around to make sure that I am not... see, my filler metal is already beginning to flow. And I always use, when I do the welding, I'm doing the welding away from my personal body. I don't want the heat to be coming towards me because I do not want to be injured. Okay, that's looking quite nice. Just like that. Shut down the oxygen and then the acetylene. I'm going to go ahead and put that on my stainless steel table here. Hold that in place. I've got a spray bottle. And I'm just going to very gently cool that down. And I'm going to keep doing this until that quenching sound goes away. I don't want to handle the pipe until that goes away, like it just did. Now I don't mind handling it. I'm going to take it, and I'm going to, since it's a small piece, I can go ahead and dip that directly in here. And I can now show you the audience the second joint that I just made. Okay, here it is right here. Moving all the way around. I did pull up a little bit of excess filler rod here at the bottom, but I mean, that's not going to necessarily hurt anything, but there is a little bit of excess filler rod right there. The joint itself is extremely solid. Okay, we are good to go. We are ready for our next welding, which is going to be this. Now, I only want this to stick inside of here about 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to give myself a little black mark here so I know when to stop this from going in. So now, let me show you what I'm doing. There's the black mark going in. And I'm going to wiggle that in. Okay, right about there. I'm going to stop right there. So you can see that I'm not fully depressed. If this would have been the actual deal, that's what it would look like. You can see what that metal looks like all the way around. And now I'm going to heat this up and join it together. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to put that right there. Okay. Just like that. And I got my filler rods ready to go. And here we go. Reduce it down, a little bit of black smoke, bring in the oxygen, get me the flame that I'm looking for. Now mind you, this is just 1/4 of an inch copper. I need to be somewhat careful on how much heat I give this because, by the way, the Schrader valve insert is removed, so if there's any internal venting, it'll vent out here. Now, I'm moving the heat around, getting both pieces nice and warm. And I'm going to go ahead and push this filler rod right in the joint where I want it to go. And I'm pulling the heat, trying to force the heat to how I want that joined. And that's joining nicely. Okay, hold on, doing good. When it sticks together like that, you just move it around. Alright, now let me start here on the back side. Okay, I'm sorry audience, I got to get in front of you for a second. Alright. Alright, that is exactly what I want. I have accomplished my goal. Let me shut this off. And looks like I never did need that second piece. Okay, so we're still super hot. See how it's doing that? I'm just going to pump my little spray bottle here till that cools down. Everything gets hot. Alright, we're no longer puffing out. I'm still going to be cautious. I'm still going to grab this with a rag or a schmata. Just make sure that's all cool and cool. And now I can show you, the audience, the joint that I just created. Okay, here's the joint. I'm going to go around it nice and slow so that you can see. Let me just grab this piece of filler metal here. My goal was to join this to this. So I tried to make sure that it was extended all the way around, and that's a nice joint. I don't think I'll have any problems at all passing my pressure test. Now, we're going to, for our next segment, we're going to actually perform a pressure test with our nitrogen so you can see how well these joints did. Alright, so here we are. Got my tank of nitrogen. I'm relaxed on my regulator. Let's go ahead and open up the nitrogen. I got 1800 psi there. I got no pressure coming out because I haven't tightened down on my regulator yet. I'm going to go ahead and take my small little test fitting here with the Schrader valve. Put that on. And I'm just putting it on hand tight. I'm not even double wrenching it. It's a pretty strong joint, just doing it like that. But this is 1/4 inch copper. If I wanted to really wrench on it, I'd I would hold that second portion there with my wrench like this, and then tighten that down, not putting any stress there, so that all the stress would be here in the brass fitting. But that's enough. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put a little pressure on the system. Okay, see that needle just jumped off of 0. There's 50 pounds. Now, there's your bucket. No bubbles. I got 50 pounds in the system, I got no bubbles. We're going to go ahead and test this all the way up to 480 psi. But just in case something was to go haywire, I'm just going to put it in back of this shield. I got a card on its side here. And I'm going to keep these gauges pointed away from me, so this way, in case there's a problem, it won't come on me. We're up to 100 pounds. Everything's nice and quiet. There's 200 pounds right there. Right there's 200. Here's your deal. No bubbles. 200 pounds on the system and no leaks. Let's keep going. There's 300 pounds right there. Nothing. Everything's nice and quiet. Let's go ahead and bring that up to 400. By the way, these hoses here are rated for 500 pounds, so I'm only going to bring it up to 480. So there's 400 pounds in the system. Everything is still quiet. We're going to bring it down over to here, though, to 480 pounds. There's 450. Okay, it's 480 right there. I'm going to take this, I'm going to put it in your bucket. And you see that, Mr. Audience? We got no leaks. Everything is quiet. I got 480 pounds on the system. Everything is good. Now I want to bleed the pressure out. I'm going to conclude the test. We passed with flying colors. I'm going to shut this off, the tank. I want to release my regulator. Now I got to get the pressure out of the system, so I'm going to bleed it out here. Okay, we're back down to a 0 condition. And we're totally safe at that point. Alright, so basically, and then for safety, I'll just lay down my nitrogen tank on its side so it doesn't tip over and have a bunch of catastrophe. So there you go. There is your demonstration there on how to do brazing. Stay silver 15. Right here was my brazing rods, and it was all copper. I did not use any flux. The flux is good, built into the rod for this particular braze. And you basically saw the techniques and how the joints should look on properly brazed joints. And that's it. Thank you for watching.